Here we go. Hello and welcome to the first SSGSA outreach event for the faculties of Engineering, Science, Life Science and Medicine. My name is Mohammad Taha Umar and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this event today. I hope this event will be insightful for all of you. We have a great guest for you today and I hope you will be inspired by their presence and their experience. So without any further ado, I would now like to kick off the event. And for that, I would now like to welcome the SSGSA Chair, Salman bin Kashif Bhai, to welcome our guests as well as all the attendees present in the meeting today. Welcome, Salman Bhai.
Thank you so much, Taha. I take the opportunity to welcome our speakers for the event. First of all, our main guest today, Professor Sufyan Beg. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. And Dr. Abhishek Royal, Ms. Zeba Kareen Ahmed, and Dr. Mohsen Kazi. All of our speakers are very distinguished people in their field or are working well to further the research in the particular field. And I hope that you will, once you hear with them, you will have good questions for them and be inspired by what they have to share with us today. We have made a few changes to our application portal. I hope that you are getting along well with the new format. And we have also changed a few motivational questions that we used to ask with previous years. And all this has been done is to evolve with our application process. We have experienced some issues with the mentorship earlier. And as we get feedback from the previous scholars and from the mentors about about the quality of the students we are getting, and based on those feedback, we keep on evolving our process. If you have any questions related to the new set of motivational questions or our format, we would be taking those in the end. And with that, I would hand over the proceedings back to Taha to give the presentation about our application process. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Salman Bhai. This is how our event is going to be structured today. I'm now going to give you a presentation on the application process. And after that, we will have a short Q&A session just for 5 minutes in which you can ask your questions on how the process actually goes. After that, I will then invite our chief guest, Professor Sufyan Beg sir, as well as our distinguished SSGSA panelists as well, to just give a short speech on why you should apply to SSGSA. And you can also learn more about our SSGSA speakers as well today. And after that, at the end, we will have a Q&A session for the general queries. So in this, you can ask questions to all the scholars present over here today, as well as if you have any pending questions about the application process, feel free to ask this question. The goal is to make this event as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions regarding the application or about anything related to foreign studies, please feel free to ask as many questions as possible. So as the name of our organization suggests, we have been inspired by the late great Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. Sir Syed Ahmed Khan was a great proponent of education, and it was this spirit which led him to founding the Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College, which turned into the Aligarh Muslim University that we know and love today. So as you can see, education is very much a huge part of Aligarh's DNA. And keeping this DNA in mind, keeping this history in mind, the Sir Syed Global Scholar Award, or SSGSA, which was previously known as the Sir Syed Emerging Scholar Award, was founded in the year of 2006 by Dr. Shaida Andrabi, Dr. Rehan Bakri, Mr. Syed Ali Rizvi, and Dr. Saif Sheikh. This award is administered by the Sir Syed Education Society of North America, which is a non-profit organization. SSGSA would not be what it is today without the help of our advisors, the alumni associations, donors, supporters, and volunteers. So what SSGSA does is that it provides personalized mentorship to meritorious scholars who aspire to pursue higher education at top international schools, and it financially supports the application process for 2 years. So if you get the award, this award is going to be valid for a period of 2 years. The first batch of SSGSA scholars was selected in the year of 2007. And over the past 15 years, we have had over 120 success stories. These students have gone on to study in top universities of more than 22 countries around the world. So I think the main question now is that when you actually apply to foreign universities, what are the admission requirements? So first, you need to submit your academic transcripts so that the universities know how good you are at your field. You also need to write some standardized tests. So for example, if you're applying to US universities, almost all the universities require you to write your GRE. If you're applying to a management program, you need to write your GMAT. And you also need to prove your English proficiency skills. And for that, you have two kinds of tests, standardized tests. You have the TOEFL and you have the IELTS. So you need to complete these standardized tests as well if you want to apply in the foreign universities abroad. You also require a statement of purpose. So what exactly is a statement of purpose? So this document is basically an essay which is written by you as to why you want to study at the particular university, what you aim to achieve after you actually pursue the program at the university, and why exactly you have chosen this particular university, and why do you think you are a great fit for the university. So it essentially just details your motivation as to why you want to pursue a particular program and what you aim to gain from it. After that, you also need to submit around 2 to 3 letters of recommendation from your professors, or if you're working from a person who has worked above you or in a position of authority as well. So these letters of recommendation are kind of like an affirmation of your credentials. And if, for example, you have worked with a professor on some research project, then the professor can tell the admission committee as to why you are a good fit for the program. And they can talk about why, what skills you actually have, and they can like really reaffirm and give you a glowing recommendation. And this goes in a long way to actually getting a successful admit from a university. You also need your curriculum vitae or your CV or resume when you're applying to foreign universities. If you're applying to a research-based program, having some research experience always comes in really handy. And especially if you're applying to a research-based master's, or if you're applying to a PhD program, and especially if you're in the technical area, I think research experience is like really important, as it helps you stand apart from your competition. And also, I think if you have some extracurricular activities and social volunteer engagements, they are kind of like the cherry on the top of the cake that you're actually building. So while they are not directly influencing your applications, they do help you stand out from the rest of the crowd. So how does SSGSA actually work over here? And what SSGSA actually does over here is that it helps you refine, helps you in these areas. It helps you cover these areas over here. And how SSGSA works is that what you need to do first is that you need to go to the SSGSA website and apply online through the portal on the SSGSA website. After a particular period of time, we go through your applications, we review your applications, and if your application is selected, we then invite you for a GRE style test and a personal interview to see if you are a good fit for the program. So how does the review process actually works out? So your applications are independently reviewed by a panel of experts, and each application receives a score from each expert, and these scores are then averaged to give a final score. So we don't want any bias in the application review process. So for example, if you come across like one strict expert who does not rate your application that highly, but maybe your application is actually good. So we have a number of experts who are going to be reviewing your application, and we will then get an average score so that it's all balanced out towards the end. Based on the final scores, the top 5 to 10% of the applicants are invited for the GRE style test and the interview. And based on the available funds, we award 25 to 30 SSGSA scholarships every year. So after you are selected and you have become an SSGSA scholar, what happens after that? So what are the features of SSGSA essentially? So what you get is one-on-one mentoring. You get a personalized plan, and we evaluate your monthly progress. So we set you a series of targets, your mentors set you a series of targets, and you have to meet those targets and see how you are progressing on a monthly basis. If you have any questions regarding the standardized tests, the university applications, or the program that you're applying to, your mentor will be there to answer the question. We also give you financial assistance. So these cover your expenses for the standardized tests that I had mentioned earlier, for example, your GRE, GMAT, TOEFL, or IELTS. We also pay the full application related fees for 5 graduate programs. So if you apply to a US university, they often have a fairly high application fees of around like $100 or even more sometimes. So what we do is that we pay the full application related fees for 5 such programs that you're applying to. We also give you support when you're actually applying. So earlier we used to give Magoosh Prep as preparatory materials for the standardized test, but now we have shifted to Princeton. And these help you to prepare for like your GRE or TOEFL, for example. We also help review and help finalize your application materials. So like I had mentioned earlier, your resume, your application essays, everything is we will actually review and like really help you refine them so that you can actually get admission. And finally, and most importantly, we give you a support network. So when you move abroad, I think you are like moving to a different country, different culture. So you need to acclimatize to the new situations. So what we do is that we introduce you to family and friends in the university towns over there. And also when you are trying to find internships or job opportunities, we provide support in finding you that, helping you find that. So how does it actually look like after you are selected as a scholar? How does the application actually look like? So from May to July, you have around 3 months to prepare for your GRE or TOEFL or the standardized test. And you can then have a window between August to October. So what we recommend is that you finish off all your standardized tests by the end of October mainly. In the same phase, you also start researching your universities that you want to apply to, and you also ask for LORs from your professors or your managers. So that you don't actually like fall behind and nothing is like too last minute. So you should know what university you're going to apply to, because I think that's a fairly time consuming process. So it's always good to start early around like September or even like August in some cases. After you are done with the standardized test, you then start writing the SOPs and then you start applying to the different universities. So if you're applying to the United States of America, a lot of universities, especially if you want to like enroll in the next fall semester. So if you want to go for fall 2023, you need to be done with your applications and everything else by early December, because the earlier you apply, the better your chances are of actually getting admission. In a lot of universities, that is the case. In some, it's not the case. It's not like a uniform process. I think the application process varies from university to university, but as a thumb rule, it's always good that you're done with your applications early. And please don't wait till the deadline to actually apply for it, because there are a lot of processes. And if you actually get caught up in some of them, I think it can create hassles for you, and it's not optimal for either your mentors nor you, and it's not really good. And so do apply early, do prepare early. So this is what your timeline actually looks like, even if you're applying to some higher education program abroad. These are some of the statistics. So these are not updated for 2021, but around still 2020, we get around more than 300 applications, around 300 applications we get, and we select around your 25 to 30 scholars every year. And earlier, US used to be the preferred destination for many of the SSGSA scholars, but that trend has shifted slightly now. So a lot of European countries are also becoming preferred destinations for many SSGSA scholars, because they have low tuition fee. For example, Germany doesn't have a tuition fee, which is why I'm also here right now. So you have a lot of opportunities in like different countries as well. In Canada, in Europe, really good universities over there, which give you like world-class education opportunities as well. So over here, as you can see, we are spread all across the globe in around 22 countries. And now comes the most important part of this presentation, and that is that we are inviting applications for the year of 2022. So the application deadline is going to be March 15th of this year. And again, please do apply. You go to our website, you find all the information that is needed, and you apply to this program over here. So to apply for this program, you have to satisfy certain eligibility criteria. So there are mainly two criteria that you have to satisfy. The first one is that you are either currently enrolled at AMU, or you are an alumnus, or you have like, for example, studied at AMU before. The second one, which is like the most important one, is that you are either registered for the final or the penultimate year or the second last year of a 4 or more year bachelor's degree program, or you have completed 4 years of education, excluding your 12th or diploma. Let me illustrate this criteria, and let me make it more clear with some examples. So for example, if you are registered in a program like BTech or BE, which is for a 4-year program, and you are either in the 3rd year or the 4th year of that program, or you have passed out from that program, you are eligible to apply for the award. If you are in the 4th or the 5th year of a 5-year undergraduate degree program like BArch or BA LLB, you are then eligible to apply for the award. If you have completed a 3-year bachelor program like BA, BSc, or BCom, and you have either completed or are currently enrolled in a master's program, you are then eligible to apply for this award. If you have only completed a bachelor's program and you're not doing any master's program at this point, then you are not really eligible to apply for this award. So please keep that in mind, that if you are in a 3-year bachelor program and you have not started your master's studies, then you're not really eligible to apply for this. And also, I would really request you to not plagiarize anything. Be original, be yourself, Just write whatever comes naturally to you so that you don't face any issues at the end. We have a plagiarism checker. So if we find out that you have like plagiarized from somewhere, then we will like blacklist you from not just this application phase, but from future application phases as well. So please keep that in mind. Just be original. Do not copy anything from the internet, because we will find out and it's not going to end well. So what is the SSGSA application process right now? For a detailed walkthrough, you can go on our YouTube channel and you can find a really detailed walkthrough of the application process. But I will just tell you some basic things that you need to know about the latest portal that is there today. So what you need to do is that you first need to create an account on the SSGSA website, and you then go and verify that account. So you will get an email on your account. You go to the email, you click the link, and you verify the account. After you're done with that, there are 5 sections in the application. The first section is concerned with your personal information, in which you enter your name, what you are, and your address, your mobile number, your contact info, for example. In the second section, you have your academic qualifications. So over here, you mention what you are studying. So for example, if you're doing your bachelor's right now, you enter your bachelor degree program details, as well as the details of your 12th grade and your 10th grade as well. So in the second section, you enter your academic qualifications. Then come to the third part, which is like the motivational questions. So we have 5 motivational questions in this section, and you need to write an answer between 20 to 200 words. So please don't exceed it, and please also don't write below 20 words, because then it won't be accepted and you can't move to the next part of the application. In the fourth step, you have to upload your documents. So you have to upload your CV, your transcripts, your certificates that you think are relevant and are going to like add to your application. And
no.
Can you please mute yourself?
Notes तैयार करो.
All right. In the final step, you can then go and you can like review your application as well. So over here in the final part, you have to go, you can like, if you want to make any changes to the application, you can just go and like make those changes. And after you're satisfied with everything, you can then go ahead and submit the application. So after you have submitted the application, you don't have the chance to go back and like modify your application anymore. So please make sure that everything is like covered. And when you review everything, be very thorough during that process. If you have any questions, you can find us on social media. So we are on Facebook, so you can like our page. You can join the group as well. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can join the LinkedIn group as well. And if you have any questions regarding the applications, so you can actually go to the SSGSA YouTube channel. And for example, if you don't know how to write an SOP, so we have conducted webinars over there earlier on how you can like structure your SOP, and that will also be relevant for this application process as well, and will help you answer the motivational questions as to how you can really structure your answers. If you have questions about how to structure your resume, we have done a webinar for that as well beforehand. So you can go on this YouTube channel and you can find it out. If you want, you can contact us as well. You can fill the contact form on our website. You can contact the chair as well at chair@ssgsa.us, or you can write us an email as well on contact@ssgsa.us if you have any other questions. Thank you so much for joining us. Right now, we are going to have a 5-minute Q&A session strictly. So please ask your questions by either raising your hand or you can write your questions in the chat as well. And we have Shujat Bhai over here, who is the team leader of the applications team of SSGSA, and we have Salman Bhai over here as well, who are willing to answer any questions that you might have right now. So thank you, and please feel free to ask as many questions as you can. I think we have Anam Fatma. Anam, would you like to ask your question?
Hello, sir. Sir, currently I am in my final year of BSc, and it will complete in this May 2022. So am I eligible for this program?
Unfortunately, if you're in the 3rd year of your BSc, you're not eligible this year. And the reason is like for most of the universities where scholars apply, they have a requirement that you have at least 4 years of education beyond your 12th or diploma. So even if like suppose you get selected this year, by the time you would be eligible to apply in the US universities, the 2-year validity period of the SSGSA award will get over. So the best way to, in order to best utilize this award, it will be good if you apply in the first year master's program.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You can now lower your hand as well. Does anyone else have any questions? You can either write in your chat or you can raise your hand and ask the questions. And if you can't find out where to raise your hand, you can just unmute yourself and ask the question as well, if that is too much work. All right. I don't think we have any questions regarding the application process. So I hope, okay, we have one question from Muhammad, from Madiha. Okay. I think she has said that she is actually like doing her bachelor's and she's in the second year and she'll be completing her degree in 2023. So when do I have to start the application process?
And if she's completing in 23, I presume she's in a 3-year bachelor's program. If that's the case, you have to apply in the first year of your master. If you're in a 4-year program, you can apply at the end of your 3rd year as well.
Okay. There's a question from Muhammad Haroon that he has dropped 1 year after his 12th. So will it affect his SSGSA application requirements?
No.
All right. We have another question from Shaista Firdaus. On what parameters will the applicant be judged?
Okay, I'll start briefly and then I'll request grades. And we do keep an account that different departments will be grading differently, and your grade scaled according to your second criteria would be like we would like to determine how motivated you are to pursue the higher education abroad. Like if we spend our time and resources on you, would it end in a successful application or not? That is the broad thing that we are looking, and to judge that we ask a specific set of questions. Because if you are willing to apply either by information in this webinar or previously, you would have some idea that this is the application process of foreign universities. You need to build your profile accordingly, because profile building would have started much earlier. So if you have some idea that these are the requirements, you would have built your profile accordingly, and we will see that what sort of projects have you done and will it match well with the research or the work that is going on in the universities in the US and Europe. And lastly, we also see that how I would put it is that will you stay on this course? There would be a lot of setbacks in this application. Many other times professor will not respond. So we will see, and that is mostly during the interview, that will you persevere through the process, because this is a long process. It will take around 9 months just to complete it. And previously we have seen that many scholars, when they start facing the challenges from it, they just drop out and then they focus on the other opportunities available in India, and which basically jeopardize our plan, because we plan some funds well in advance and we are very much invested in what you are going to plan and how you're going to pursue. So these are all the parameters. And if you would ask me to ask one criteria, we would just say whether you would successfully be able to apply and get an admit abroad.
All right.
Siddharth, will you add something on more?
You left nothing for me.
Sorry?
You left absolutely nothing for me. You covered everything.
Come on,
Yeah.
You can still add some.
Yeah. I would say you have to we look at the the overall profile, like your academics, what you have done outside the classroom. Have you if you are interested in applying for a research program, then do you have any research experience, very valid research experience at the undergrad level? All these factors add in, and those are the measures, and that's how we gauge you. So yeah. we can move on to, I think, next question now.
Yeah.
Bye.
So there's another question. We are going to go back to like more questions towards the last Q&A session. So I think
Right,
we have
right.
like time for like two more questions right now. So there's one question from Zahra, who has said that she has having some confusion with the eligibility criteria. She has graduated with the BSc degree in 2021 and got admission letter for Master September intake 2022. Is she eligible to apply for PhD preparation?
She's currently enrolled in master's program. She is eligible to apply.
Okay.
It says that she got the admission letter for master's intake, which starts like her degree would start in 2022. So she has not begun her master's yet. So I don't think she's. So if she has completed her B 2021, let's say June or about that summertime. So I would like to ask her this question, like, how, like, is there a gap year, this 21 to 22, this academic year? Does she have a gap year? So if she can come on the microphone and answer this question.
Zahra, are you here?
Yeah, I think we can discuss this.
Yeah, we can discuss it afterwards.
I would also like to, advise all these scholars who are present on the call. They can, like, if they're interested and if they're eligible, they can meanwhile log into the application portal, and then they might have some more questions regarding that in the end, like how the portal works. So that would be good. Yeah, I think we can proceed now. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we'll answer just one more question and then we will move on. So I think there's a question regarding plagiarism from Muhammad Siddiq. He says that he had written essays and motivational questions in last year application of SSGSA. If I copy something from there, will it be plagiarism?
Okay, so Siddiq sir, let me ask you this. Are the questions same as last year? We have changed the questions. So
yes, you have changed the questions.
Yes, so
but I actually, if I copy some part from there, will it be plagiarism or not?
No, like if you copy some part from there, it will not be plagiarism, but I don't think the questions are the same.
Yeah, questions
and
are
I
not
would
same.
advise you to like think from it from a different perspective and prepare fresh answers. Obviously, your information would be the same. Like if you have done some project, that part will be the same. But I don't think the questions are designed in a way that sentence by sentence can be copied from the.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I think we can now move on to the next part of our event.
I think Shujat was saying something. Let him finish and then we can move on.
No, I was not. I think we are ready to go. Yeah, proceed. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Yeah, so we are now ready to move on to the next part of our event today. And for this, I would really like to invite our very special chief guest today, Professor M.M. Sufyan Beg sir. Sufyan sir is an alumnus of UC Berkeley, IITs Kanpur and Delhi. He is currently the chair of the Alumni Affairs Committee, and he's also the principal of the Zakir Hussain College of Engineering and Technology. Sufyan sir is a respected academic and serves on the board of many journals and conferences of repute. Sir, can you please share a few words to our prospective applicants here today so that they can be inspired to apply for this award, and it will be very nice to hear from you. Over to you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. Salman, Taha, Ali Bhai. I can see all the distinguished panelists and dear students. First of all, we have to understand that education never harms. Why I'm saying this? Because the professional courses, the students who are enrolled in professional courses specifically, they think that bachelor's is this. That is the end of their studies. They have worked hard, they have earned their bachelor's degree, and they are going for a job. And some of them, they even go on to think that if we study more, that will make them narrower. And the companies will not pick them up because they have gone into a very narrow domain. So this is the, misconception that we have to get out of our minds, because studies are never going to harm us. The more we study, the brighter and more acceptable in the world we'll get. because studies is not about just learning. It is the training that we undergo when we are studying further. And at this point of time, I'll bring a very interesting anecdote which says that when you study and you realize that you know everything, they give you the bachelor's degree. If you study further and as soon as you realize that you know nothing, they give you the master's degree. And if you keep working and when you realize that neither you know anything nor does anyone else, they give you a PhD. So it's very true, very appropriate. The more you study, the more you realize that there is so much more to explore, so much more to study. And that is what sets us apart from the developed world. In the developed countries, the higher a degree you have, the more acceptable and a more a higher raise you get in your salaries, and your employability goes up. So first and the foremost thing that our students have to understand, that we have to go for higher studies. Now, better the exposure that we have, the more precious the higher studies they get for us. And particularly when you go abroad, there are so many more dimensions that you tend to inculcate in you. If you keep studying from the same institute, regardless of how good that institute is, you will not get the much needed exposure. That is the reason why the students in the West, they keep moving to different institutes in order to get a better exposure. If somebody gets, for instance, he or she gets admitted to MIT, still he or she needs to move to another institute for the higher studies, for the postgraduate studies, or for the doctor's program. Because they have got a degree from one place, they've got the best of that place, now they should move on. So even if you are in a very good university or in a very good institute, still you need to switch institute in order to provide the much needed exposure, right? So students, one way could be that after finishing their bachelor's degree, they go to IITs. I'm talking about engineering because that is what my background is. You can correlate the same thing to other branches as well. So a few students, they move to IITs and then their eyes open up that, look, we have got the bachelor's degree in the best possible way at one of the best institutes in India, but still there's so much more to learn from IITs. They are better focused institutes. They are very professional. And as one of my fellow faculty members was saying, that as far as teaching is concerned, the Aligarh Muslim University is no less than the teaching standards at IIT. But what sets the IITs apart? They make the students work hard. That is something that we lack at AMU. We are not able to make our students work hard. And the same set of students who had been toppers at the Aligarh Muslim University, when they move to IITs, it becomes very difficult for them even to pass a course, leave alone getting very good grades. And after that initial shock of a semester or so, they start grasping the art of taking up the challenges that these good institutes pose at you. And when you go to a foreign university, the approach is different from what you have in IITs even. They are more practical. They are more industry oriented. They give you the live projects to work upon. Their faculty members have got the industry projects as sponsored projects with them. And then they make you work on those industry projects. And whatever you do, you know that it is going to be deployed in the industry very soon. So first and the foremost, our students have to have that yearning for higher studies. And once you have that thing in you that you're going to go for higher studies, we should be thankful to our alumni that they have been helping our budding students with the programs like SSGSA, where they are serving everything to you on a platter. They have worked out with you to improve your resume. They have worked out with you to prepare the SOP. They have worked out with you to guide you which universities to apply at. They have, they might even guide you how to take the GRE exam, how to take TOEFL, IELTS, GMAT, whatever. And then they will help. It's a kind of hand holding. Ungli pakad ke aapko chala rahe hain ye alumni. Those who have that precious experience with them, they are basically pulling you along with them. They're already at a height and they are trying to pull you up to the same height or even go beyond what they've already achieved. And I'm sure all these, young alumni that we have, they'll be happier if some of you, they go even higher than what they are presently at. So we should be thankful to these alumni. They are trying to provide you with the fees for application fees for GRE. They'll guide you to relocate to a foreign location. There will be the alumni that they can connect you with so that the initial shock is taken care of. So there's so much that our alumni under the banner like SSGSA are doing to help our students. So first and the foremost, you have to have the urge of going for higher studies. Secondly, you have to have the urge of going for higher studies from a very good institute across the globe, anywhere where you are able to find. And all of us have that teaching कि इल्म हासिल करो चाहे चीन तक जाना पड़े. So we have to travel in order to, and that is not something that I'm saying now. Even in the olden days, people used to travel far and wide when they didn't have flights, they didn't have cars. People used to go on camels. People used to travel in order to acquire knowledge from the scholars. So secondly, you have to have the urge of learning from different places, from the best institutes in the world. And thirdly, you have to learn from all these successful alumni. How can you work harder to rise higher in your careers? So we should be thankful to all our alumni, and we wish all the young students all the very best in whatever they aspire to do in life. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and I'll be happy to take your questions towards the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your excellent speech. And I'm very sure that it would have inspired so many of our students presented over here today. You have highlighted the challenges that come while moving abroad and why it is important to do so. And it's incredibly important that all of us actually get this opportunity to go ahead and do it. So thank you so much, sir, for the glowing endorsement of SSGSA as well. And now I would like to move on to a very established and really prestigious set of scholars over here today. We are very proud to have them over here with us. So first up, we have Dr. Mohsin Jahan Qazi with us today. Dr. Qazi is a postdoctoral associate at Cornell University, which is one of the Ivy League universities and one of the most prestigious universities in the world. He has also been at the Harvard University. He has done his PhD from the University of Amsterdam and his master's in chemistry from University of Eastern Finland, if I'm not mistaken. I think, yeah. And he did his master's in chemistry from AMU before he actually moved abroad. So he has been everywhere around the world. He has traveled the world around, and I think he's going to be an excellent speaker for all of us scholars over here today. So Mohsin bhai, over to you now.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, and thanks Salman bhai and Toha bhai for giving me this opportunity to share my experiences. So I think as I was told, like to tell people a little bit about my journey, which is for the purpose of telling people so that they can relate, like how things, if they are interested in such kind of a career path, and how it's possible, and particularly if we get like people like SSGSA along to help, that makes things much more easier. So my story is sort of in a way, because like when I was at AMU, I didn't have any ambitions. Like when I used to hear back from researchers, from people who would do research, they would say, we wanted to be scientists when we were young and everything. But in my case, that was not the case. I might have wanted to be a scientist, but I didn't know that that was even a career option. So I remember the first time where I got this this whole idea, and the other thing was like studying abroad. For a person of my financial background, that was just out of question. Like I had never imagined that's even possible. And then one day I was in my bachelor's final year or master's first year. There was a similar event. It was an offline event at our Department of Chemistry in AMU. I just saw there was a poster on our notice board. I still remember that poster, although it's like 11 years ago now. It said PhD for dummies. And I identified myself as dummy. So I went and I thought maybe I will see, maybe there is something for me. I went there, and then at that time, there was Mohsen Bhai, his name was also Mohsen. He had gotten admission for PhD in the US. So we attended the seminar like this outreach event, and Mohsen Bhai told his story, which was very relatable, and it was like I saw from the background he had come, from the kind of studies he had done. It seemed very similar, and where he was going now, that was very inspiring. So I kind of right away, that dream developed at that moment. So it kind of seeded at the same time and germinated at the same time. So I kind of started running after SSGSA people. And I think I applied when I was in the final year, and luckily when I got the scholarship. So I got lots of, like, other than mentor, like a straight away application process, there was also like background kind of information. For example, I had done my master's, but I did not have a research experience back at the AMU. And at that time, I thought in order to like land more comfortably in a PhD program, I might need some preliminary research experience. So I was advised at that time to take a master's degree again. So that's why I went to Finland. And I think that was a brilliant, I think, idea from someone at SSGSA who gave me at that time, because after that, I ended up doing a PhD at top 100 ranked university in the world. So that was, I took a couple of extra years, but then I think that at the end of the day, it did pay off. After finishing my PhD, then I joined at Harvard University for a postdoctoral fellowship, and currently then I moved to Cornell University along with the same group last year. So it has been a very, very thrilling experience and very enriching experience from both professional point of view and from personal point of view. And I don't have enough words to thank SSGSA for that, from the very beginning to kind of even like, one thing is people realizing their dreams, and another thing is like these things were not even in my dreams. I would have never imagined even. So this was beyond dreams. So I think like now SSGSA has grown even bigger. So now the reach is even bigger. At that time, I guess with it was still like many people didn't know about SSGSA, and I think resources at that time, I don't know, were not maybe as much. But now there's a big team, mostly from the scholars who themselves benefited from the program and have a much more wider experience. For example, now the scholars are spread all over in all the continents almost, except for Antarctica, I guess. We have people in Australia, to US, to Europe, and to Japan. The point there is to let every place has a different application process. And now you have a reference person from everyone, from everywhere. Like if you want to go to Japan, we will find you someone there. If you for the application, to meet the application process there, or if you want to go to US, there are many people who would be there to help you to guide you through the specific application process for that particular place. So yeah, I think as Professor Baig earlier emphasized, the importance of traveling abroad for the purpose of education and taking higher education. From my personal experience, I guess that is very true in terms of your how much kind of it humbles you. I first time heard that quotation, but that's very relatable. Like when you are in PhD and you know how much you don't know and how others also don't know. That's a very humbling experience, which is a great personality trait I would say. And other than that, like it's amazing at the big universities where you go with all the facilities you have and the kind of problems you get to work on. They're really cutting edge research, and you really are at the frontier of the research in the particular field, which is very fulfilling and very exciting at the same time. So I think, yeah, that was mostly I had to say, but if you have any specific question, I'm happy to answer at the end, or if you want to reach out later on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mohsin Bhai, for detailing your experiences and your incredible journey. And now I will like to invite a scholar who is actually was my mentor. I was very proud to mentor her. And her name is Miss Zeba Kareen Ahmed. She's currently studying, doing her master's at Saarland University in Germany. She has also completed an internship at Rice University, so she can talk to you about her experiences over there as well. And she was selected as an SSGSA Scholar in the year of 2019. So Zeba, over to you now.
Thank you, Taha. Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. My name is Zeba Kareen Ahmed. Currently, I'm a student of Master of Science in Visual Computing at Saarland University, Germany. Before that, I completed my BTech in Electrical Engineering from AMU in 2020. So it was during the pandemic. And it was in 2019 that I applied for the SSGSA and received the award. So it was not a long time ago that I was in the same position as many of you are today. So let me tell you about my experience with SSGSA so as to motivate you to apply for this program if you're not already motivated. So every SSGSA scholar is paired with two mentors. My mentors are Ali Muzaffar Bhai and Mohammad Taha Umar Bhai, which is already in the call. So in the very first meeting, we went through the whole timeline of graduate applications. So it made the whole daunting experience it broke it down into small actionable chunks, and it gave a little more clarity. So the first task was to prepare for the standardized tests. So as SSGSA provided us with Magoosh Prep, and my mentors and I, we set actionable goals for myself, like for every month. So we would discuss my progress and my current understanding of the test and everything. So that was really helpful. And then while preparing for the actual graduate applications and working on my SOP, I remember messaging Taha Bhai regarding my doubts, and he would set up a meeting despite his busy schedule, which I now realize. And he would always answer my fumbled queries with great patience and always gave me like practical advices and on what I should do next. So that was really great. And one thing that is not often talked about regarding graduate applications is the rejections. So when I got rejections, my mentors, they really encouraged me and motivated me to keep going forward. Otherwise, I was like very sad, but they helped me keep going. Yeah. And one fun fact, I would not have known about Saarland University, where I currently am, if it were not for Taha Bhai. So literally where I am today, I owe it to Taha Bhai, and I'm very thankful to him. And about the SSGSA community, it is really a great community. It feels like family, like experience like I had since I'm a previous Khurana scholar. So I have mentored present Khurana scholars, but the feeling of community is not the same as I have with SSGSA. So I'm really grateful to the SSGSA community and my mentors, and I hope you all apply for this program, and good luck.
Thank you so much, Zeba. You gave me more credit than I actually deserve, but thank you so much for all this. And finally, last but certainly not least, we have a very special SSGSA scholar with us today. So we have Dr. Abhishek Royal. Dr. Royal was the first person from India to receive the prestigious WHO TDR scholarship in 2019. And that scholarship enabled him to go and do his master's in public health from UGM, Indonesia. He's one of a select few doctors in India who are friendly to the LGBTQ plus community, and he's actively involved in research in treating HIV and AIDS. And it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Abhishek Royal to the panel. Abhishek Bhai, over to you now.
Thank you, Toha. Thank you for this generous introduction. Am I audible to you? Yeah. So, cool. Thank you. Everyone here seems so familiar to me, and I have been with most of them during all of my journey. I just have nostalgia, Mohsin Kazi bhai in Amsterdam. So yeah, so all of you, like, I had a long journey with SSGSA, and I was hearing all of your things, and it's like a PhD for dummies, and it's like PhD karni chahiye, nahi karni chahiye. I'm still struggling with that. Should I do PhD or not? Seriously, this session is like eye opener to me again also. One more thing is like, what do you want and how do you want and why do you want? You should know about that only, and always chase excellence. This is what I have always gone through my career. Since through my childhood, my schooling days in MBBS, and then in SSGSA, and then pursuing my master's program also. So the only motto that I always had in my life is like कि excel to a level जहाँ पे आपकी application कोई reject ना कर पाए. मतलब people should think that why are we rejecting this application? So excel to a level that the other person before rejecting your application should think twice. Why should I reject? Why should not I accept this application? So this is something that I'm going to talk about right now. And one more thing that I will say to all of you, it's like have the courage to do something which is not traditional in your current setting, and do something and have the courage to think, okay, I might fail, and it's okay to fail. Okay. So when I was doing my MBBS, doing public health was in JNMC was very not thought about. Very few seniors are there who has pursued this career in public health, and going out of the league was like, my friends used to say, okay, tum bewakoof ho, tum achhe khase student, and you can go for a good MD degree in any college if you do good. So like, I just wanted to do public health. And as far as we know that there's a lot of limitation at that point of time, that I was like, what is research? I didn't knew anything about it, and I was trying to pursue a degree which is having a bigger, strong say in research also. So I tried a lot. I did a lot of hit and trial. I was like shooting at everything and doing everything in I would say darkness. But yeah, along with that side, I always tried to do whatever you wanted to make you excel in that field. You should be known for your work. That's it. And the other things will be figured out on its way. So I was never confident that I can write, I can do research. So this was the entire limitation that I had when I was in the final year of my MBBS and doing my internship. That is when I got SESA, in fact SSGSA now. So I got SESA. So at that point of time, I got it, and me and Afzal was like, okay, what to do now? And I seriously do not have anyone who can properly guide me how to go through the entire process, because I only have one way to go about it, was to get scholarship. I cannot do it without scholarship, even for my master's program also. So I didn't know how to write things, how to write essays, how to write your statement of purpose. Nothing. We doctors do not know how to make a resume. Believe me. Most of the doctors are like very poor with making resumes and writing CVs and SOPs. And like, okay, then and when I got selected for it, and Afzal and me were like brainstorming how to write it now. Okay, how to write it. So we used to do a lot of mistakes, and then I used to send it to my mentors, Rihan bhai, and he used to do a lot of editing and everything. And I like, उस time से जो चस्का लगा लिखने का, वो ऐसा लगा कि आज तक छूटा नहीं. So it's all about when you have some certain passions and it comes out to you. It's like, yeah, you should know how to write things. You should know how to write. Whether you wanted to write your project, whether you wanted to write your SOPs, whether you wanted to write your own story, you should know how to write it and how you're gonna sell it. That's it. So same, I think, so research also have a very important critical writing aspect, and which is actually needed to get into all these master's program. I applied, I just gave it a shot, and I got into Johns Hopkins, and I got into Yale, and I got into UC Berkeley, everything, but I did not got full scholarship from any of these colleges. And I was like, wow, what to do now? Yaar, us zamane mein 62% aana bhi bahut mushkil hota tha MBBS mein. Like, that was like something created mess for the scholarship perspective. Yeah, then I went back to the fields. I did a hit and trial. I joined a program. I quit that program and everything. But the only thing that was continuous in my career was like I was continuously growing as a professional, as a scholar, I would say. I was continuously doing trainings. I was doing academic work. I was writing things. I was trying to get into research. I was handling projects, and I made a resume which was like nobody can actually deny. then I just got into this program of WHO TDR, and I was something I traded, okay, whether I wanted a country that I wanted to get into, or I wanted something that I wanted to excel into. So basically, I went to the applied for this program from WHO TDR, and I became the first student from India to get this degree in WHO TDR in this very specific specialization of implementation research on diseases of poverty. So I went there. I thought, okay, it has got something like very big or something like that. I was fully funded for everything, for my research, even for my travel and everything. I was solely funded for it. This is the thing that I can only afford just to go, and that's it. So at that point of time, yeah, I went there, and it's like it was a very class that you needed. Cross country, cross cultural informations are actually something that you need for your career growth. But even then and there, I never stopped there. I was like a pain for my faculty there also. It's like, but that actually paid me back when I was doing so much of research and was able to publish 12 papers in high impact journals in during these 2 years of program, and doing certain research which was like never done in implementation research. So this is something that you should always remember, that if you have that courage to do something in which you think that you might fail and you still are trying to do, then definitely means that you are trying to grow. I am having a lot of pressure right now to go for PhD. Like, let's wait for some time, have some good experiences in the field, then I will apply for PhD, because ultimately excellence never fails. This is something that I wanted to tell you. Excellence never fails. The second thing that you should know, that you should know how to write. How should write what you are and what you wanted to do. That's it. So yeah, this is something that I wanted to talk about here. I'm happy to answer any question. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Abhishek Bhai, for detailing your journey and for advocating excellence to our potential scholars over here today. And now I think we are finally here for the Q&A session. So if you have any questions for any of our scholars or for Sufyan Beg sir, or even regarding the application process, please feel free to ask. You can again raise your hand or unmute yourself and ask the questions. Or if you want, you can just write in the chat as well. I'm going to get back to the application questions as well, which were given earlier. But first, let's just ask questions to the other scholars if you have any.
Before the scholars are coming up with their questions, I'll just like to add, and Abhishek Bhai greatly reminded that how contagious Rehan Bhai is when it comes to editing the application package, and like he does a really good job. So I would like to promote our newsletter. We will be releasing a newsletter in less than a week, and Rehan Bhai has written a very good note in that newsletter about grad school preparing the applications. So do read about it. Do read our newsletter, which will be out really soon. That's about it. Welcome, and I will welcome the questions now.
Shasta, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My question is, I'm applying for internship abroad, and the only research background I have is working on literature review during my master's. What points can I put in SOPs to enhance my getting chances of getting selected in the program? Since the program is going to be funded, they do need a candidate who is outstanding. Please suggest me in this regard. Thank you.
Salman Bhai, would you like to take the question?
Yeah, I can take it, and then later I would also request one of the panelists to take the same question as well. Shasta, yes, if you are applying for an internship, typically it would be very competitive if it is funded, and they would expect some research experience. But if you don't have a practical experience and just the literature, it is still good enough. It is about how you present it, how you write it. And one way I can think that you can sell it better is that, like, literature review is always an important part. And if you can demonstrate that you know how to do a literature review and how to find a problem out of reading the papers, that is one skill that every professor would want. Like, even if a professor has a well-funded project, they have a specific set of questions, the thing, literature review doesn't end there. Even if they select you, they will ask you to do the literature review again. to revisit the questions that you are asking, that what we call as a research question or the hypothesis that we are going to test. So it always helps. So if you can demonstrate that, like maybe due to the lack of the facilities or lack of the opportunities, if you don't have a practical experience, but instead you have spent time in reading the papers in detail, making research questions and hypotheses out of it, and then reworking along those, it can still be, it can still add value. And even for SSGSA, we don't always look for like the number of projects or the number of internship that a person has done. We see how the person has answered our questions or presented the details, even if you don't have the quantity, but if for whatever you have done, you present it with a good quality, it always makes the cut.
Zeba, would you like to add something? Because I think you have done your internship abroad, right? So would you like to add something?
Shaista, one good thing would be to search for the faculty currently working and find a professor or professors who are currently working in the field that you did your literature review in. See how their work relates to yours. Propose anything like related to their work, or how you could further their research. So like that will make your application stand out a little, and will also show that you did a little bit of homework and that you're actually interested and serious about it.
Thank you. Sir?
Okay. Anything else?
Sir?
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask a question about the application.
Mhm.
So I was filling the form, and in that I had to write my academic performance, and I wrote about my bachelor's, about my 12th and my 10th, but it was still asking me that check the eligibility. I'm in my master's, my first semester, so I wanted to ask you that what else should I write, because it's not letting me proceed.
Okay, Hafsa, can you send a screenshot of what you're facing to SSGSA.us, that is our email, so that we can forward it to the web team. So if you are eligible, like that, you at least have a 4-year bachelor's degree or 3-year bachelor's plus 1 master's, and if still our application portal you to go further, just send us an email so that we can go your specific record and see what is the error. And just to let you know, we received a similar issue, but where the eligibility criteria was like it was throwing an error regarding eligibility criteria, but then we realized that person was not filling up the details correctly. So maybe the case for you too. We really need to see the specifics before we can comment on that. But if you are eligible and the form is not letting you go to the further step, just write to us and we'll forward your details to the web developers, and they will find out a solution for you.
Okay, so I'll do that. I'll do that now. So also I wanted to ask you that can we include any internship or any course that we have been told that we could join in the winter session, in the winter holidays, but we haven't done it yet. But we have been selected. We have got the email, but for that internship, but we have not done it yet. But it was competitive, and we were selected.
Yeah,
could we include it in it?
Yeah, so like if you would see the form, like we have asked some specific questions about extracurricular and co-curricular activities. So you have to present it this way, that you may write like this, like we have been selected for this competitive course out of these many applicants. And if you mention it clearly that you haven't started it, but the achievement is that just by getting selected for this course, I'm sure the reviewer will take notice of it.
And may I also add that you might also have to attach some kind of proof in the upload document section.
Yes, sir.
It could be like an electronic proof or anything. Yeah.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions for our scholars over here today? If you want to know about the application process of like USA or Germany or Indonesia.
I have a question. Yeah, it's about how can I apply for my master's thesis at a different university, and like what pros and cons will it have, And right now, my master's is focusing on biotechnology, but I eventually want to direct it towards cancer, like how I can use the technology in techniques in biotechnology in cancer. Like what are the pros and cons if I'm going to do so? And when I was discussing it with my classmates, they were saying that your master's thesis is the deciding point of your career in Germany. So yeah, I want to have a second side or a second perspective on this.
Okay, so Kulsum, I think your question is probably there are two parts to it. One is that you want to do a master's thesis at a different place than where you are enrolled currently. And the other thing that you're probably asking is something more about cancer research. Now, for the cancer research part, I think Zubair Bhai is on the call. He has done his PhD in that. He might be able to answer the second question. But if any of the panelists who has a good answer to the first question, please go ahead and answer that.
Hi, Kulsum. So right now you're doing masters in AMU or you're doing masters somewhere else?
I'm doing my masters somewhere else, like in Germany.
Okay, and you're working in biotechnology field. Sorry, I lost the second question. Can you repeat the second question?
First was that I'm looking forward to do my thesis somewhere else. So I wanted to know what are the pros and cons of it. And second thing was when I was having a discussion with my classmates, they were saying that your master's thesis is the deciding point of your career, specifically in Germany. So I wanted to know the second perspective to this thing.
No, that's not completely true. There are people, and I did my biotechnology and my whole research was in the field of protein chemistry. And I moved entirely to cell and molecular biology, working on something that's not, I never did in master's program. I never worked on my nanoparticle. I worked on nanoparticles in my master's program, but I moved to like a hardcore molecular biology in my PhD. So so you can switch techniques, you can switch your field. The only thing is that you have to convince your professor that you have a scientific acumen and your thoughts are very articulated towards achieving a particular topic, finding the answers, and finding the problem first and then finding the answers to it. So that's the basic thing any researcher will do.
Yeah, that's my question. How do we follow the convincing part?
You need to, so the first thing is that you need to tell them that this is the problem that you had in your master's thesis, and these are the kind of literature and kind of ideas that help you resolve that issue. So you have to show them that there was a problem, you found the problem, then you solved it. And you are very good at finding a problem, and like Salman Bhai said, reading the articles and finding the problem from that article is a skill that no professor will deny, irrespective of the field. We have one more scholar right now and researcher in this panel right now. He did his Mohsen Jahan Qazi, he did his PhD, master's in chemistry, and he did his PhD and he got his PhD degree in physics.
Okay.
Can you think that this is a very different field? So this can be done. It's been done before, and people are doing it now. Like the interdisciplinary research and the boundaries are very fading. So you can do that. All you have to do is find a way to connect your research into the professor's field and show them that you are the right person. You have the acumen to find a problem and solve it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to add a couple of points to it. So as Zubair mentioned, like the master's thesis doesn't really restrict you to be doing PhD in exactly same field. So there has to be some kind of a link, but not necessarily like exact same thing. I have seen, like myself also, I did in master's in chemistry, and then I was in applied physics. sort of intermediate. So there are lots of fields now where the groups are so big and the kind of problems they work on, they require so much of expertise. Like the group I'm currently working with, so one of my colleagues is mechanical engineer, another one is biomedical engineer. I don't know what I am, chemistry, physics, whatever you call it. So it's not very restrictive anymore, thankfully. But as you mentioned, there's doing master's thesis from somewhere else. I think that is really a really good thing if you can manage that. I would connect it back to what Professor Beggs mentioned in the beginning. It's about also making networks and connections in the area, in the field. So where you are doing your master's currently, you already know research groups there, you know the professors from your courses or from your small projects.
Yeah.
And if you now go to another university and then do master thesis there, so you will know another team and their contacts further on. So when I was doing my PhD during in Amsterdam, we used to have lots of students from Germany and France coming to do master thesis, even from India, from IITs. We used to have students, they would come for 2-3 months, or and sometimes you get even paid for that. I don't know, maybe you're already paid, but these master theses, for example, there are some institutes, particularly, I think, I don't know in biotechnology how much they are, like in the field I was working with, you have these Fraunhofer institutes in Germany, or
yeah, right now I'm attending Fraunhofer Institute, the lab module. But yeah, you mentioned this paid master's thesis thing. Like, do you have any idea about how can we apply for a paid master thesis?
So normally, like when you apply to research groups, they offer funding. So they mostly like the big research groups, you would just ask them some sort of is there any possibility of some, normally like if you go from one university to another, or if you go to institutes, and they usually in Europe, at least it has it. In my master's, I did a thesis, I did it in the same department, but they kind of treat you as a research assistant, and then they give you actually extra money for that. So I think it's rewarding if you can get it, definitely, if you can get a master thesis from somewhere else.
Okay.
Since I have done my master thesis over here in Germany, I would like to just add a few things. So if you are going to a university and you are trying to like get the opportunity at another university, I think sometimes they treat it as like credits. If you are getting credits at a university, you don't get paid for it. So I think that is a very real possibility. But if you actually go and do it at an industry, but again, you will have to like talk to your professor about it. And again, there are no cons associated to it, as long as the professor at your department is like okay with it. You just have to like convince them as to how it relates to their research and how their department is going to benefit from it. Then I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem. There are so many people who are coming over here and doing their thesis at TUM. So if you have any questions regarding Germany specifically, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in Europe, I think I will just add one more point. They have also this Erasmus things, which also organize these exchanges systematically. So maybe your university has some Erasmus exchange office, so you can probably also contact them.
Yeah, my university has Erasmus thing, but it's quite complicated. Like I'm not able to understand it. How should I follow up the application process?
Kulsum, I would request you to like follow us up after this because I think there are other questions left to be answered as well.
Thank you.
And we will like give you a concrete answer after that. Please do follow us up after that.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have another question from Mas Khan. Mas, please unmute yourself and ask us the question.
Greetings, everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a final year electronics undergraduate student at the AMU, and I have my interest towards applying in a data science course. So I had the job offer in hand, and I'll be applying for 2023 fall intake, preferably in US and Canada. So by the time I'll be applying, I'll be having 8 to 9 months work experience in the domain that I want to apply in, but don't have the exact education background in that. But recently I got some a point of views from different people that work experience can only help if it's of approximately 1.5 to 2 years of duration. Is that I have this situation here, so I wanted to ask if that's any true.
Any of our panelists would like to take this question?
So Maz, are you planning to apply for master's degrees?
Yeah, I'm planning to apply for master's.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, you know, as far as like my opinion and my experience with these things go, I think for admissions for these graduate programs, be it master's or PhD programs in US and Canada, I don't think industry experience matters a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Other members may have other opinion about it, but industry experience, they don't, it will definitely add something to your profile, but it's not a major deciding factor whether you would be accepted into a program or not.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's even for PhDs. Like I think earlier also someone mentioned about these things, like not having a research experience or something. So it's very understandable, like when someone is hiring a PhD student. So it's still a very early stage. So you should not really limit yourself if you feel, for example, I am saying it because when I was in my master's back at AMU, we at that time, masters in chemistry at AMU didn't have a research project during masters. I don't know now, probably they have it. And which was, and then sometimes it's in order to circumvent it, you just do another master's. But then later I realized it's not such an important thing to have a research experience. Or sometimes we get questions from people saying we don't have publication or we don't have a very concrete research experience. So it's not that much required, particularly in US with GRE and TOEFL. So they kind of, when you go through this exam system sort of, which covers up for lots of things.
Yeah, just to finalize something. So Mark, there is no like a golden rule that these many years of experience will as a threshold for you and lesser than this will not work out. It's about how you present it. So you are doing bachelor's in electronics, and if you want to apply for master's in data science, I think it will still add value, whatever your 8 or 9 months of experience will be, but it's all about how you present it. It's not about, if you just say, I have 9 months of experience, obviously the person will think of it negatively. But if you say that I have some experience in data science and these are the projects I have worked on and these are the problems I have solved, and that's for the same thing, when you're presenting in a different way, will have a totally different value. And so think that, like think in the shoes, yourself in the shoes of the other person who is hiring you. The professor is seeing, and if he or she sees that, okay, a person has already know how to troubleshoot some basic errors and all, because that's what you would do in your 8 or 9 months. And that would put you ahead of many other people who may not have an experience at all.
And I would like to add one more point. I know some people who were working for 3-4 years in TCS research division in India, in Hyderabad or other places, and working in like research in industry does help. So I don't know like what sort of position you have been offered for this year, but you can see the kind of project that you will do there. Like, do they have any research component in them? And then you can accordingly, like, as Salman said, that, you can, what skills you have used in those projects and the components of research that are present in those projects. And then you can, definitely have those listed on your resume as, skills that you have learned during that period. And that will definitely help you. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, we have time for one more question right now. If someone wants to ask, we have time for that. Otherwise, I will go back to the application questions that were asked and were left unanswered earlier. Anyone?
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Sir, I'm pursuing my bachelor's from AMU. I'll be completing my degree in June 2023. So I have plans to apply in Europe for my master's course. So when am I supposed to start the application process? Is it 1 year before or after completing my degree?
And Maria, and like when you are in bachelor's and which you will complete in 23, is it a 3-year course or a 4-year course?
So it's a 3 years course.
Yeah, then to apply for the SSGSA award, you have to be in the first year of your master's to apply. That is our requirement. No matter which year you are, like which calendar year it is.
I think her question was if she can apply for master's herself directly. I think you can do that even master's, 3-year bachelor's degree. And I think it starts like, if the program starts in September, your application would deadlines would be mostly around December, a year before. So I think SSGSA does that also. Sometimes, like if you are not a scholar, if you just send around a query to someone, probably they would give you a feedback. Maybe not in an official way, but it is possible.
Yes, you can send us your resume and SOP, detailing out what program are you applying, and we will find some person who has done a similar thing or a related thing. Then we will pass your profile to them, and based on the time they have, they will give you feedback on your application back. Yeah. For the SSGSA, what I was answering is when I thought your question was for the SSGSA award. For the SSGSA award, this is the eligibility criteria for everyone. But if some universities allowing and they are accepting a 3-year degree, we would be happy to provide mentorship.
Yeah, and if you're targeting fall 2023, September 2023, as Mohsen Bhai said, you have to start your application process somewhere around, I would say November, because the deadlines are in December. So yeah, you have to get started by the end of this year. Yeah,
well, just be considerate. Give us some time. Because many a times we have received a request. Hey, I have a deadline in 3 days. Can you give us the feedback as soon as possible? It's not like everyone who is volunteering for SSGSA, they have a regular job too. Most of the time they look forward to the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, to do this thing. So if you are sending us a query on Monday and you say Wednesday is your deadline, it might not be possible for us to apply. We still try. We did it because I remember a few months back, we received this query, and yet Rehan Bhai was able to make some time and give the feedback. But we cannot promise that. Give us at least 15 to 20 days time to respond.
All right. I think we have some short questions now. So one question is, just give me a moment. The person did his diploma in mechanical engineering instead of 12th, and he's asking if he's eligible for the scholarship.
Taha, we missed one question about that. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
By Fazlur Rahman.
Yeah. I was actually coming to that as well.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. I was going to come to that, but yeah.
Again, is insufficient information. Yes, either 12th or diploma is eligible, but after 12th or diploma, either there has to be a 4-year bachelor degree or 3 years bachelor's plus master's. That is the eligible. So just by knowing whether you have done diploma, I'm not sure if I can answer. Diploma plus 4-year bachelor's or 3-year bachelor's plus master's is the eligibility.
Yeah, so diploma works as a substitution for your 12th class. That's all. And then you need to have a BTech or a BE 4-year degree, after that. So yeah.
All right. There's another question from Fadlur Rahman, who has done his schooling from Aligarh and he has completed his master's. Is he eligible?
So our question would be, has he completed his, so when he says schooling, is it like primary schooling or like the Alama, like +2? So we would like to know that if he is around on the call.
I don't think he's here.
Yeah, so +2 is the requirement. If you have done +2 from AMU and went on to do bachelor's or master's from somewhere else, you are eligible. Anything below +2, we don't count it as quote-unquote schooling from Aligarh.
All right. And the final question is ISRA active now?
I think I already responded to that privately. Unfortunately not, but we are still trying. Like even in last year, we reached out to a few professors if they are willing to invite, but then they wrote back to us that there are a lot of visa complications currently. We are not accepting applications for ISRA, but just to let you know, as a team, we are still making efforts to revive that program back.
All right. I think we have gone well over time right now with the questions. And thank you so much for all the questions here today. And thank you all for joining. A special thank you to all our guests over here today, Sufyan sir, Abhishek Bhai, Zeba, and Mohsen Bhai as well. And we look forward to getting your applications very soon. If you have any queries, feel free to reach out to us. We will help you and assist you in your applications and even in your higher studies abroad. Even if you're not accepted as a scholar, we are always open. So please feel free to reach out to us. That's it. Yeah, Salman bhai.
Just let me add, I would like to officially thank Professor Sufyan Beg for making time for us and staying till the end. And so we greatly value your support to our program, and also otherwise your outreach. I just say we do follow your YouTube channel for various other aspects, and we thank you very much for helping the student community. And we look forward to engage with you more in the future as well.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Always there for the alumni and students.
Yeah. So the deadline is going to be on March 15th. Please stick to the deadline and do start applying beforehand. Don't wait for the last day as it's custom in AMU. Do not wait till the end. Please start applying from beforehand. And yeah, I wish you all the luck, and hopefully looking forward to seeing your applications and your queries, and see you all very soon. Thank you, everyone. Allah Hafiz and take care.